What this flap that lasted maybe about 16 hours really highlighted Ann Romney's dual roles in this campaign. Her first role is to be a sort of channel of women's economic concerns back and forth to Mitt Romney. And her second, probably most important role is closing this gender gap that exists in the popularity that Mitt Romney enjoys between women and men. He is much better liked among men than women, which is typical for Republicans, but it's a particular problem for him. And the way, sorry.
And actually, Elizabeth, let's put some figures around that because they're quite startling, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, they are indeed. He has about 11 to 18 point gap between his popularity among women and that of Barack Obama. So it's a big problem for him that could dog him into the fall in the general election.
Okay.
And well, Elizabeth, there's also, you mentioned the two roles that that Ann Romney is playing. There's also that third role of trying to sort of humanize Mitt Romney. He's come off, in his attempts to appear like kind of an everyman, as a little bit stiff and wooden. And it is her role to try and say, look, I love this guy. I couldn't love somebody who didn't have, a terrific character and personality.
Yeah, that's really the tactic that she employs to close that gender gap. She has to say, I've been married to this man for 43 years. I know him better than anyone. And she has really seen a side of him that no one else has seen. And that is him as a spouse and as a father and as someone growing up all the years that she's known him.
And they put out a video about this, really showing that softer side, this more personal look at the Romneys. And we're going to show a little clip from that now.
He flew in December of '68. The runway came out into the airport. Of course, his mother is got her arms open, and he runs right by her and grabs me. All Mitt and I wanted to do was just go get married. We didn't want any parties. We didn't want anything fancy. We just wanted to get married.
And that is a clip from a much longer piece showing that more personal look at the Romneys. Elizabeth, so Ann Romney has more of an appeal to women. Why is that?
She comes across, her personal narrative is really significant to people. Most women on the campaign trail ask her to talk about her 15-year struggle with multiple sclerosis. And what she does when she tells that tale is to humanize Mitt Romney by talking about how much he was behind her and how he says, together we can do anything. And, she says she felt like nothing when she was diagnosed, and he helped her to feel like something. This resonates with any woman. And so women are really, through Ann Romney, starting to see him as more of a human being. But she's going to have to work really hard because that gap is enormous. So today, what happened with this whole flap with Hillary Rosen was she put a sharp spotlight on Ann Romney's role as a stay-at-home mom. And in doing that, she really stepped on a third rail among female voters, and that's that fraught debate, that divide between stay-at-home moms and women who work outside the home. Both groups of women say what they do is work, and so by highlighting that contrast, Hillary Rosen really did the Democrats no favors.
Well, Elizabeth, can we break down women's voting patterns based on whether they are stay-at-home moms versus, working women who may also be parents? Is there any is there any trend within the within their electoral habits that break down on those bases?
Well, one thing I can do for you is to break down married versus unmarried female voters. Unmarried women tend to vote more strongly Democratic. Married female voters tend to be more conservative, and they tend to go in greater numbers toward Republicans. So in talking about Ann Romney as a woman who, quote, never worked a day in her life, even though she was at home raising 5 sons, Hillary Rosen was highlighting that divide, and she was really sort of unwittingly playing to that audience of more conservative, married female voters.
And we've also got the White House weighing in on this, so it's crossing party lines. We've got First Lady Michelle Obama joined in. She tweeted, "Every mother works hard and every woman deserves to be respected," and that's the tweet there on the screen. And that MO, that's Michelle Obama. That's how she signs her tweets. So Elizabeth, clearly this is causing, it's hitting a raw nerve, it seems.
Yeah, it really did touch a nerve, and you could tell by the speed and the depth of the Democratic response, as you say, from Michelle Obama on down. David Axelrod talked about Hillary Rosen's remarks as offensive, and also the White House has been very strenuous in its effort to say this woman, Hillary Rosen, is not a Democratic strategist. She is not advising the campaign. She's a paid pundit for CNN. She's a Democratic lobbyist. She works for a communications shop here in town in Washington. So they're really working hard to move away from her and her comments, and that did generate her apology after efforts all morning of trying to explain her remarks, which really were in an economic context, to be fair. She finally did have to apologize.